All right, we are live.
Yeah.
I know the late night sessions are going to be interesting. So we keep changing up the time because I'm like, are we going to get more people at 8 o'clock? Or like, I know for me, like I don't start looking at my phone until now. So I was like,
Right.
all right, let's try the 10 p.m. thing. But I'm like, you get 10 p.m. hair, like you don't have that problem, but
No, not even a little bit.
hey, we'll see if anybody actually watches us. But okay, so I want to give you a huge plug first, right? Because
Thank you.
you are amazing and like I have so many questions and insurance needs throughout my day that it is insane. And today, like fun story time, Darwin's lease is up on his Suburban. So we have to find another car. And of course, like with gas prices just going through the roof,
That's crazy.
it's insane. But
Yeah.
we're like, no, we're just gonna go electric, right? And
Smart move.
yeah, I mean, I have my Model X, right? And he's
Yeah.
just like, he doesn't want the X. Like he doesn't want it. And the Y is like really too small. He's been so used to having the Suburban for so long.
Right.
So he was between the Volkswagen, I guess, has
Okay.
an SUV, and then the Audi is an e-tron, I think it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So that is what we ended up going with. But we went to the Audi in Bethesda, right? And
Hmm.
Darwin has been talking to this guy there since Monday. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
They have been texting, communicating back and forth, and the guy's like, "You really got to get over here. Everybody's trying to buy this car, blah blah blah." Like so many inquiries, and Darwin couldn't go last night because Nate had soccer and there was kid stuff and life stuff, and I'm working and whatever. So he's like, the soonest I can get over there is like this afternoon today.
Yeah.
So we went over there right away. We got there at like 2 o'clock something. And of course, like we're literally 5 minutes from the place. And the guy is like calling Darwin. He's like, "You got to get over here, man. There's a guy test driving this car right now. Like, you got to get over here, blah, blah, blah." Like he's like
Oh
rushing
man,
us and putting
he
all this
was
pressure
he
on
was
us.
putting it on there.
I was
Putting
like,
it on thick.
what? Dude, we've been communicating with you all week. And you're telling me you're gonna sell this car to somebody who's like just showing up, right? Like, and I was trying to put a deposit on it. I'm like
Yeah.
trying to do all this stuff because I mean, it was really a good deal. Okay. Like in the end, after we figured it out, it was an amazing deal. And I was just like, oh man, that's it. And like he sold it to the other guy. Like
Did
he's
he?
like, yes, I was so, and I was like, oh man, this is how buyers must feel like, in our housing market, like they lose. And it's like, yeah, that sucked, but I'm like trying to like be happy. It's like, it's okay. We'll find another one. And then like, there's this other one in the lot that we could have leased, but it was like the blue color with like the poo brown interior. And I was like,
Okay.
no, I'm not doing the poo brown interior. And the guy actually told me, he's like, people either love it or hate it. And I'm like, yeah, not for me, bro, not for me. So, we ended up leaving there and like not getting anything and just being so pissed off. And I saw the guy who was buying the car like on his way in. I was like, dude, you should get a Model X instead, because I'm like, I'm there in the parking lot with my car.
He's like, nope, thank
I was
you.
like my last ditch effort to change his mind so that we could get that one, but it didn't work, so
No.
it's fine. I think the sales guy just thought I was a turd. I have to try not to curse on this, which is really hard for me, as you know. But like, if Facebook will just kick us off, so anyway, so then we ended up going to the one in Tyson's, and like they had one, and it had a little bit more mileage, and it was like more expensive. But I was like, oh, we're just gonna do it because like I just think as the gas gets more and more expensive, it's like
Yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
But my point of telling the story is, obviously before they're going to process any of the financing or anything, like we needed car insurance, proof of car insurance right away. So I messaged you. I'm like, need insurance, like send it now. And like he had it over to me within 15 minutes, which was just awesome. So thank you.
No, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, you had caught me right in the middle of just like doing everything. And then so you text me and I was just like, you know what, forget this. Let me just drop everything, get it done really quickly. It took me 5-10 minutes, verified the information and then got it off to you. So,
yes. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Everybody needs a Marlon in their life. So
Nah.
if anybody doesn't have Marlon in their life right now, you guys need to reach out to him. You can. Where can they find you? I don't know. What's the easiest way to find you?
You can find me on Facebook, every social media platform, MarlonOriol.com, Google, Yelp.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think I can actually. What's your phone number?
703-369-6201.
There we go. I can actually put it in the chat. Boom.
Awesome.
I have no idea where it goes, by the way. I don't know.
It just disappears.
It looks like it goes to all the platforms. Okay, cool. StreamYard is like the coolest. But anyway. So that's car insurance. Like obviously that's one that you do.
Yes.
But you also help our buyers. And like in this crazy market, it has been so helpful because we have very little ways. Virginia is a buyer beware state, right? Like everybody
Absolutely.
knows that. And right now we have to waive home inspection. Like that's a lot of the time, that's what it is. If we're lucky enough to get a walk and talk, okay, great. That's like a 45-minute walk through with the house with an inspector kind of situation. But most of the time to win, we have to waive inspection. And so one of the things that we can do is have you pull the clue report. Do you want to explain what that is real quick?
Yeah, basically the clue report is a comprehensive loss underwriting exchange. And so whenever somebody has a loss, it goes into that database. And then us as agents, we're able to pull those records so that we can rate the homeowner's insurance properly. So it helps you guys in a big sense because somebody reaches out, like you as a realtor, and says, hey, this person's interested in buying a home. They don't know what losses has been there and how far back it goes, and of course the homeowner is not going to tell you the potential buyer.
Yeah, no, like, hey, we've had water here every single summer for the last 20 summers. But yeah, that's so in Virginia, they don't have to disclose if it's been repaired, right? So if it's something that they've repaired, they don't have to disclose it if it's not currently an issue. Yeah. And so I know for us, like with the clue reports that you do, I'm always looking for repeat water claims, right? Or, repeat weather claims or, anything like that. Fire damage, obviously, like that's a big one if people have tried to cover it up or, all those things are really helpful.
Even the claims that people have filed and aren't covered gets shown as well, and so you want to know if, hey, they tried to file certain claims that we don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely one of the things that we use to kind of try and protect our buyers in this crazy market as best we can. Yeah. But I did want to throw in, like, while we're here for a few minutes, just looking at the market because I am so excited about this. Okay. New active listings in Fairfax County, 250. This number was 111 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yes. So if there are buyers that are listening and you guys have been on the fence, like spring has sprung and inventory is picking up already, which is just awesome. So I'm hoping to show a bunch of houses. And there's like another 200 incoming soon.
Wow.
So yeah, I think one thing buyers don't realize is, like, if you're not linked up with an agent, you don't see that coming soon inventory because all of that does not actually get syndicated to like Zillow and Redfin and, all the apps that people use to look at houses by themselves.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, Kelly, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is it better to buy or rent at the moment?
Oh, it's always better to buy. Okay. It's always better to buy. I mean, even if, and the reason for that, hey, Karen, she's probably in the other room messaging. But no, I mean, it's really always better to buy because with renting, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage. Yeah. And the thing that's happening right now is the interest rates are going up, right? So we did a comparison, on one of our last streams where, if you were buying a $500,000 home at 2.5% interest, which is what it was, then now with the higher interest rate, even if you're buying a $550,000 home, or even if you're buying, I think it was actually that you're buying a lesser home, like so 450,000 at a 4% interest rate, your payment is actually more than what it was. So even if the prices go down, and the interest rates are going up, it's really that interest rates that is the driver in your price. So, I always tell people, like, you need to do what oh, it's Ricky. That's cute. That's cute. But I always tell people, like, you need to do what's right for you, right? Like,
Exactly.
if
Oh yeah,
it's not the right
same.
time to
Yep.
buy,
Yep.
it's not the
Same
right
thing with
time to buy,
insurance. Yep.
and also I'm not big on, I have some buyers who we've like, I have one client who, like, literally has had, like, been pregnant with a baby and had a baby, and, like, we've been looking for a house this long, but I don't want to force them into a house that isn't the right fit for them, just because it's, they're in, like, a month-to-month lease and they're cool with it, because they want to find the right house too. And so, I'm totally fine with that. I don't like pressuring people into doing things that they're not comfortable with. So,
Right.
we gotta just, but the thing is that I also am very realistic with them. Like, the market is not getting better, right? Like, I don't see, I mean, even with all the craziness that's going on right now with Russia, Ukraine, and, like, we don't really know what's going to happen. And, like, are we going to be in World War III? Like, we don't even know.
Yeah.
But the problem is the inventory, right? Like supply and demand, everybody, that's like basic economics, right?
Mhm.
And the problem is that we have such low inventory that we have, like, less than 1 month supply of houses. And, like, a stable market is 6 months supply.
Wow.
So, like, when you look at it that way, you're just like, yeah, like, and then the thing that, oh my gosh, I wish that I could go live on TikTok. So, like, if anybody is watching this and you are not following me on TikTok, please go follow me, dating_houses on TikTok, because I want to be able to go live on there for so many reasons. One, because I can curse and just, like, be myself.
You're holding back, aren't you?
That I am just like, this is very hard for me. I think the other thing is that, there's so many people on there that I want to be like, this person is so wrong, and the thing is, like, that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with social media is, like, people are just out there and they're just saying whatever. And if they can get a following and people listen to them, then people think that that's fact. And, there's people that are like, oh, we're going to have this major foreclosure crisis. How are we going to have a foreclosure crisis when, even if you bought a house last year, you have on average like 18% equity? How is it even possible? And the other problem is that people who have been buying houses, they've had to be incredibly well qualified. Like, if you were going to win against 16 other offers, you have a conventional loan, you had cash to cover an appraisal gap, you had a decent down payment, like, all of those factors played into this. So, I mean, everybody should have equity right now. So if you're thinking that you have to foreclose because that's your only option, you really need to talk to a realtor, because just sell your house and then go rent, But anyway, all right, I'll step off my soapbox. I totally went down a path on that one, but
I love it. You're passionate.
I am. I'm very passionate about insurance. So, all right. So tell us. All right. So you have, like, homeowners insurance policies also, right? Like the basic stuff.
Absolutely. We do renters, condos, homeowners. We pretty much do it all. My partner does commercial. That's what I don't touch, but do home, auto, umbrella policies. Everybody should have an umbrella policy, and life insurance and health insurance as well.
Yeah.
What you said makes a lot of sense. Our benefit as an agent is the fact that everybody's different. What your needs are different from what my needs are. And so as an agent, I'm able to sit down with my clients and say, hey, okay, A, B, C, D. All right, this is how we save you money. This is where you're lacking in coverage. And this is what you need to do to prepare for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, because you take the time to answer questions too, which,
Exactly.
like, I had State Farm for a long time. I think that was who I had before, I met you and like went down this whole path with, I don't even think when we first met. So hold on a second. Let's step back for a second. So Marlon is actually Darwin's aunt's
Ooh.
sister's husband. Did I get it? Did I do it?
I think you got that right.
I think I did it.
Yeah, you got it.
Did I do it? I think so. So when we first met, I don't even think I knew you sold insurance.
No.
And like we didn't even talk about it for a while. And then I was like, oh, like he knows. So then we started kind of getting into it and we went, and you've been so incredibly helpful. And like the thing about you is I can just call you. Like I can call your cell phone and I get you and I don't get, press 3 if you have a question, blah blah. If you have homeowners insurance, press 2.
With that.
I don't have time for that.
Exactly. Exactly.
The 4 seconds or however long it takes, and then you're sitting on hold. No, I don't have time for that. That's why I love working with you. Thank you. Like you take the time to understand the whole picture, answer all the questions. Like it's so awesome.
Well, the way I look at it is that, if somebody has a question and it's a quick question, why shouldn't they get a quick response?
Yeah.
I mean, really. And if you're on hold or you're calling a 1-800 number and you're talking to every different person, they don't have any vested interest into helping you out.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very valid point. So, okay. So we have the auto, obviously. Mm-hmm. We have the home.
Well, let me touch on the auto really quick.
Go ahead.
So a lot of people have the state minimum. Okay. And they have 25, 50, 20.
Okay. I don't know what that is. Break that down.
Okay. So 25,000 bodily injury per person. So if you hit me in an accident and I'm hurt, the insurance company will pay up to $25,000.
Okay.
Per person, up to 50,000 per occurrence. Okay. And then 20,000 for property damage.
Okay.
So that beautiful new car you got, somebody runs into it, and it costs $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to replace. Insurance company pays $20,000. You're left with the balance.
Ouch.
Now we think about 66, 495, all the other highways.
Yeah.
And you hit multiple vehicles.
28. That yes. bridge. That bridge on 28 where I totaled my Volt. I had that accident and the tow truck driver was like, yeah, I pick up cars here regularly. And I'm like, maybe somebody should do something about that, man. The cops are there. He says this happens regularly. Maybe somebody should do something about that.
So true. But, if you have the state minimum and you're not properly covered. I just had a client that had the state minimum, was paying $600 a month for car insurance.
What?
For 3 cars.
Wow. And okay, I'm not complaining ever again.
And I was able to get them down to $250.
Wow. I'm jealous now.
With 100, 300, 100 with more coverage.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And it just people look at price.
Yeah.
For all types of insurance.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely a difference between you have to pay for insurance. Like
yes.
It's not worth it to risk it to not. Like there's just way too many things that can happen. I mean, as a business owner too, you have my business policies too, like as far as covering me for liability. Yep. And like that's huge too, I feel like that's why I love you though, because you're a one-stop shop for all things insurance.
Yeah. And the way I look at it is there's a way to save money while getting adequately covered.
Yeah.
But you have to have both. It's a balancing act.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get into the fun stuff now.
Okay.
Let's get into the life insurance.
Let's go.
All right. You break it down for us because, So okay, I gotta tell you this because this is just like this is just the honest truth, right? Mm-hmm. Is that originally I was like, ugh, life insurance, it's got to be a scam, right? Yeah. Like there's got to be a trick to this, And I have what do I have now? The short term.
You have a term policy.
Yeah, so I have a term policy now in case like I croak tomorrow, knock on wood, or something happens or whatever. Like my family's protected, but. We've been talking. Yeah. Be real. I was waiting for that policy to kick in.
He's trading in that vehicle really quickly.
But But anyway, so but we have been talking a lot about life insurance and like going for the policy that basically is a retirement plan.
Yes.
And so I know, let's keep it high level because everybody's going to be different. There's a lot of different rules, but can you
Right.
kind of explain the gist of how that works?
Well, there's two types of life policies. You have term policies, which I call like renting, right? What you have it for a certain amount of years. It's generally lower cost, but after that term is up, the insurance company goes one way, you go the other way.
Right.
Okay. And then there is whole life insurance, which is like buying a house, right? But like buying a house, you can buy a condo, you can buy a townhouse, you can buy a house, mansion. There's different types of whole life policies. So the one that we looked at and we were looking at for the kids was the index universal life.
Yes. Yes. And I like the doing it on the kids because it ultimately ends up being less expensive when you start that way. Right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, the
then
cost of insurance is
and then it
much less
builds.
on the kids.
Exactly, because they're younger, they're healthier, whatever. And
that's how you maximize that plan.
Exactly. So I'm super excited to get into that. And I think that a lot of people just don't understand it. And then they have the same stigma that I
Yes.
did, which is like, oh, this is just a ripoff, but it's not.
Mhm.
And it is how the wealthy ultimately end up building more wealth.
Yeah.
And like we've had this conversation too. It's like our entire system is set up to keep people poor, right?
So
And
true.
until you start educating yourself and like learning about the different options and figuring out what you can do, like that's the only way to break the cycle, right? And it's like
Absolutely.
you got to get smart on these other things that are out there because without a diversified portfolio,
You took the
you're
words
not
right out of
going to
my
make
mouth.
yeah.
Yep.
Look at the stock market right now, right? Like look at the stock market. I mean, even cryptocurrency totally crashed, and which I'm like debating getting. Which next week I feel like I'm going to talk crypto. I think because I notice it's like on a little bit of a cycle again, so I'm like, oh. As soon as I see it, it's like, woo, woo. Oh, okay. But
Yeah. I mean, look, life insurance isn't the answer for everything, right? But
right.
it's just a path to wealth.
Yes.
And during the crash of '08, everybody was losing in retirement accounts and things of that nature. Life insurance maybe didn't gain, but you didn't lose on it.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's one of the benefits of it. It's slower on the gains, but you're
Yeah, but it's more
guaranteed no loss.
stable. Yeah, it's more stable and you're protected. And also, I think one of the big things about it is that you can ultimately borrow against it tax free, right?
Exactly.
Like, so that is
At any point in time.
Yeah. So I think that's the ultimate piece of it that makes it so awesome.
Yes.
And so anybody that's out there that has questions about it, I put Marlon's info in the chat, but definitely reach out to him. I don't want to keep this going too late tonight because we started pretty late, but anything
and I
else?
started pretty early
and
too.
You started pretty early, right? I know. It's just like, oh, they're gonna get like really crappy hair and like I'm holding on, but we're gonna prepare people. Yeah. But like, no, it's good. It's good.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is that, like I said, everybody's needs are different, and the advantage to having an agent is that I know the tricks, and I know what to do and how, because there's so many insurance companies.
Yeah,
there's so many insurance companies. All of them like different things.
Yeah,
and so
I think you should tell. Like you told me that story about the woman, though, right? With the dog or something like that, right? And you were able, like. You're such an honest guy. Like you didn't necessarily have the best plan for her. Tell that story quick.
Okay, I gotta remind me. The one, was it the woman that had the dog bite?
Yes.
Oh yes, that's right. She had the dog bite. She found out that she was canceled or being canceled, and she was looking for a policy immediately. And so I did the research for her, and the rate came back outrageous.
Yeah.
And so she texted me, and she's like, "Hey, I was able to find a different insurance company for this price. Do you think I should go with it?" And I said, "Absolutely." The rate was cut in half. you know, I mean, one dog bite, nobody wants you.
Yeah. And
You
I
know,
didn't know that. I
yeah.
mean, you know, I
It's,
didn't know
it's
that.
it's crazy. One claim, an insurance company can cancel you. Two claims,
Wow.
you're gone.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean, I've told people, so wait, on that point though, like I think you're awesome for, you know, you're going to do the right thing for people, and I think that that's really important, right? Like that's one
absolutely.
of the things that I absolutely love about all of our vendor partners. You know, we refer people and we refer people to new clients, and they're always like, oh, like they think that there's some ulterior motive about why we're referring people,
Yeah,
but we don't get kickbacks from any of our partners. And also, like, we really just work with people that we trust, you know, and that we know are going to do the right thing for our clients all the time. And like that, you know, that to me means more than anything else, honestly.
exactly, exactly. You want to be able to send it and forget it. Know that your
Yeah,
clients are being taken care of.
exactly. Yep. Answer your phone. You answer your phone like I do 24/7.
Karen was saying, "Man, you two are crazy." I was like, "You have no idea. I'm a
It's not,
workaholic.
I
Look,
know.
I'm passionate about this. You know,
Me
just like
too. But
yeah,
that's
just
what
like you are.
it is. It's exactly, you know what? That's why it works though, right? That's why it works.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, I was gonna tell you something else, and I had a brain fart. Um,
It is 10 o'clock.
I know,
way,
I
way
know.
past
I
my
lost
bedtime.
it. It's gone. It's gone. I have no idea. Um,
Well, no worries, no worries. I mean, the way I look at it is, you know, if anybody has any questions, they can reach out. I always say, you know, test me, look up our reviews, and look to see what people have to say about us. That's key, because if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Marlon, I trust you. Here's my stuff," then I hold that in high regards.
awesome, awesome. All right, dude. Well, I think that's pretty much. I think that covers it, right? Anything
Yeah,
else?
I mean, you know, if anybody has any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat. Everyone's probably just like watching us as they're falling asleep.
Insurance talk could do that to you.
Yeah, yeah. But all right, well, thank you so much for coming on with me tonight, answering
Yeah, thank you for having
questions.
me.
I put your number in the chat again. So, do you have like an Instagram too?
I do. You know what? I think the best thing would be like my website,
Yeah. What is your website? Is it
www.muller,
M? Uh-huh.
MUELLER,
Uh-huh.
Oriol, ORIOL
Uh-huh.
.com.
There we go. All right, so that's in the chat now too. So if anybody needs to get a hold of Marlon, he's happy to look at your information, see if he can save you some money, and make sure that you have the right policy coverage. So thank you so much, dude. Have an
Absolutely.
awesome night.
You
I'll
too. I
talk to
probably
you later.
yeah, absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.